Hi, my name is Cindy Redeman, and I am founder of Living Grand with Diabetes. Living Grand with Diabetes is an organization that is focused on diabetes, of course, and you can find us on Facebook and on my website, livinggrandwithdiabetes.org. We are here today with Dr. Wes Sade. I want to thank you for coming out and sharing your expertise and taking the time with us. You've been such a great inspiration in my life and have helped me along the way in so many ways you don't even probably understand what a blessing you've been to me. And I know that you will be to others watching this.
Thank you. I'll do my best.
Okay. Would you start by just telling us a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. I'm a family physician. I'm board certified. And I practice in Crowley, Texas. We have 2 clinics called Total Care, and I have been a physician 10 years this year. I also specialize in weight loss and also endoscopy. Other than being a doctor, I'm passionate about something called servant leadership that probably a lot of your viewers are familiar with. I like to blog and do a podcast on that at aspiretolead.net. But my primary job is being a physician, being a doctor, and I love being a doctor.
Oh, you are a good one.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, then we're going to just go ahead and get into it, and I'm going to ask you a question. How do I control my sugar levels when exercising? I know for myself, exercising is very important, and I've had to learn how to control it. But can you give us some advice on how to do that? And also, if you're wheelchair bound, what are maybe some exercises a person can do that can still stay so they can stay fit?
Right. Excellent question. And this is a common question that I see in my practice. But Cindy, if I may, before we talk about good control during exercise, we have to talk about just briefly about good control without exercise.
Right. Okay.
You know, if you're trying to exercise and your blood sugar is already very erratic, then it's really like a hopeless situation. Mm-hmm. So to have good control without exercise, let's take exercise out for a minute. The summary of it: you want to eat right, and you do that by eating at the same time 3 meals a day with 3 snacks in between. So you're eating 6 times a day. And more or less, you're eating 50 grams of carbs on each meal and 15 grams of carbs on the snacks.
Okay, what do you say to the people, though, that say 6 times a day, then I'm going to even gain more weight?
Right. Obviously, you're not eating a whole lot. So 50 grams of carbs is not a whole lot of food, right? So you can still control your calorie intake, but control your grams of carbs.
Okay.
Absolutely. So if you have the food portion down and you're taking your medications, let's say you're on metformin or insulin or whatever it is, you're eating right, and you're eating 6 times a day, so your blood sugar is not going up and down, right? You're taking your medicine, and now you're getting ready to exercise. You're already coming from a good platform. Now what you gotta do is this. My advice is, first, you don't want to jump into it and do a whole lot at the beginning. Being a new diabetic, or if you're trying to change, it's really a discovery journey. So what I would do is I would aim to start with about 15 minutes to 30 minutes, and you want to see how you do. And you want to start by checking your blood sugar before and check it in between, say after 15 minutes, and then after 30 minutes, and then see how you do.
Okay.
The general rule of thumb is, if you're starting your exercise and your blood sugar is under 110 to 120, you want to eat about 15 grams of carbs.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. And if you're gonna do, say, 15 to 30 minutes of exercise, it all depends. Is it strenuous exercise, or is it doing Tai Chi, where you're just moving and not doing much? So I would start with doing mild to moderate amount of exercise.
Okay, like I'm sorry to interrupt, but
Please.
What I've been stressing to people on Facebook is how I started was just walking.
Great.
I just started walking. I started with a quarter of a mile a day.
Great.
And when I could do that comfortably and breathe good through it, I went to a half a mile and so on. So would that be a good starting point to?
Yes,
to
Absolutely. That's great. Well, let me ask you, did you start by checking your blood sugar before
before
and after?
and after.
Okay.
Yes.
And say with 15 to 30 minutes of walking, does that usually, in your case, affect your blood sugar a whole lot?
No, it doesn't affect mine, but I do have my blood sugar under control.
Great.
Very tight rein on my blood sugar.
Wonderful.
So, yeah.
I think you did it just right.
Okay.
Start with walking or something similar, and do check it before and after. If you're under 100, 110, go ahead and eat about 10 to 15 grams of carbs, and then see what you do.
Okay.
The key thing, Cindy, is everyone is different. Your body is different from mine. Your diabetes is different from mine. The medicine is different. So it's really going to have to be tailor-made for each person. The key is we don't want to overdo it at the beginning and drop our blood sugar, and hopefully, we don't want to pass out or do anything like that.
Right. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Thank you so much. I've had
Sure.
so many people ask me that. And what about in a wheelchair? What
Right.
can wheelchair-bound diabetics do to be able to stay fit and
Right.
healthy and still feel good about themselves?
Right, absolutely. Well, being wheelchair bound is also a range. It could be a range of functionality. Some people really cannot move much. Some people may be older and frail, or some people may be temporarily in a wheelchair. I was recently in Iowa for a bike ride. I think
Yes.
you mentioned something on Facebook about that, but we rode every day for 7 days, and there were about 10,000 riders. It's called the RAGBRAI. There were a few people that were wheelchair bound. They were doing arm cycling.
Oh.
Right. So, being in a wheelchair, it can range from being a professional, like Olympic para-athlete, or doing these type of 7-day bike ride, or it could be someone who's really more frail and cannot do much. So it really depends where you're at. But regardless, being active, it is so important. So what can you do? You could do several things. Number one, you could try to do chair aerobics.
Okay.
So chair aerobics is when you basically primarily using your arms to increase your heart rate.
Okay.
So there are a lot of videos out there, or a lot of resources, but I would look for chair aerobics. Aerobics is really good to get your heart going, so it's good for your heart. It's good for diabetes and whatnot. One thing I would recommend for anyone on a wheelchair is to talk to either an occupational therapist, physical therapist, or really best a kinesiologist. A kinesiologist is a person who specializes in sports medicine.
Oh, okay.
So I would talk to them and say, look, I want to be active. What can I do? Other than aerobic type exercises with the arms, you could think about water aerobics.
Good idea. Right.
Obviously, you have to do it in a safe environment, because it all depends how much use of your legs you have and whatnot. So water aerobics is really, really great. So that would be another option. A third option is obviously some stretching exercises that you could again find online. Or different sources, or strength training. So if you don't have any use of your legs, obviously the legs won't be involved in that. It will just be arms. But a lot of people that are wheelchair bound, they can use their legs, they're just not strong enough to walk.
Right.
So, without going a lot into the details of specific exercises, plus that's not my specialty.
Right.
Those are the general criteria. And, and one last thing I'd like to say, Cindy, is it is very easy to lose hope. Right?
Right.
And this is something you've always talked to me about.
Right.
You said, I want to do this Living Grand with Diabetes, and I admire you so much.
Thank
it's
you.
to give people hope. But when people are in a wheelchair, they have an issue with hope. Anybody of us would, more than others. So exercise is going to be very, very important to keep people feeling good, and feeling just that they can keep going.
Right.
So I'm very glad you asked that question.
Thank you. I'm glad that you shared what you did, only because I have talked about this several times on my Facebook page, and I've had a lot of people ask this question and what they can do.
Right.
And so thank you so much for that.
Absolutely.